Don't forget to check out The Eraser. It comes out January 5th. Hi, my name is Chris, and I just moved into the neighborhood. I moved here about a week ago. I found out quickly that there was nothing to do. I couldn't go to school because it burned down last month due to some gas explosions. My parents didn't want me to wander too far from home. Apparently a clown was on the loose. I made friends with my neighbors pretty quickly. Eddie lived on the right side and Joey lived on the left. It was perfect because we were all the same age, being 14 years old. Eddie and I would hang out all the time. Joey would occasionally join us, but usually he was in his house. He didn't come out often because his father died in a car accident. He was told by his father's friend, Brody, that some weird creature killed him, and that caused the car crash. He doesn't believe him, though. Eddie came over one day, needing to get out of the house. His dad was angry at him for getting home late last night. He just wanted to sit down and relax. I turned on the TV, and the first thing that came up was the news. I wanted to change it, but Eddie wanted to watch it. Apparently, a 13-year-old was killed last Friday, and they were trying to figure out who did it. Eddie was fascinated by these things. He got bored of watching the same thing as last night, so he went outside with me. We noticed a sign in Joey's lawn. I noticed a truck pull into the driveway. I looked at the sign that read "Sold." We ran to the door and knocked on it. Joey answered and asked why we were here. We asked him if he was moving. He said the only reason he lived here was because of his dad's work. Now that his dad wasn't around, they didn't need to be here anymore. He said he needed to go, and he slammed the door in our faces. We walked back, trying to find out what this meant. Would there be a new family, or would it just become like 27 Dorset Street? Yep, that's right. You may have been thinking of 191 Dorset Street, but when the police went back there and searching for the bodies a few months ago, they found a whole nother house, 27 Dorset Street. Eddie and I both don't have many friends, and with Joey moving away, we would lose a friend. A few hours later, Joey moved away. Eddie and I sat in my bedroom windows, waiting to see the people move in. Hours after Joey moved, a van drove into the driveway. A family of 3 stepped out: a mom, a dad, and what I am guessing, a son. Eddie and I practically dove down the stairs. We were so excited to meet these people. We walked over to the boy and asked what his name was. He said his name was Finn. I told him he could come to my house to hang out. He nodded his head and looked at my house. I ushered him over to my house and inside. I closed the door behind him, and he spun around. He seemed to be examining the lock. I told him he could follow me up to my room. He slowly turned his head towards me. He started walking up the stairs. When he looked down at me, he gave me this weird look. I walked past him and into my room. Finn followed Eddie into the room. Finn seemed to be looking at all the windows. He said he had to go then, and walked out the door. I heard the front door open and close. Eddie and I inspected the windows to see why he was looking at them. We didn't see anything strange. Eddie wanted to sleep over, so we asked our parents. They said yes, so he ran to his house, grabbed his stuff, and sprinted back to my house. We asked each other for their favorite movies. I found out that Eddie's was The Goonies. We sat and talked for a long time. I asked Eddie how school was like, being that I have never been there. He said it was fun when it was there. I asked him what we could do during the day. He said we could walk around and maybe even go snooping in some abandoned houses. I said we could go see some tomorrow maybe. He said we would have to be careful because police found dead bodies in the bedrooms and a clown was supposedly using one as a hideout. We went to bed right after that. I woke up to hear a dragging sound outside my bedroom door. I heard the bathroom door open and close. I figured it was my brother going to the bathroom. I tried to sleep. Right when I was about to drift away, I heard Eddie call my name. I asked him what he needed. He explained that he heard something outside, and I told him it was probably just my brother. He said he heard footsteps walk over to my door and stop just outside. He signaled for me to be quiet and lay down. He flopped to the ground and stayed quiet. I heard my parents' bathroom door open and someone walk around. The door slowly closed. I told Eddie I had to go to the bathroom. I snuck into the bathroom and locked the door. As I turned the lights on, I froze with fear. There, in the bathtub, was the body of my brother. He lay there, with blood spewing from the cuts on his neck. Above his body was a message written in blood, "The Outsider." I opened the door and saw a figure walk to my parents' bathroom, so I ran to my room. I looked at Eddie, and he froze with terror. I told him we should crawl under the bed. He nodded. A few minutes later, footsteps came out of the bathroom and proceeded into the hallway. The footsteps stopped outside my door. The door creaked open and then slammed shut with a huge bang that made both of us jump. Then I heard one of my biggest fears. The sound of running footsteps came roaring down the hallway. I heard a thump as something flew onto the ground, and the door flew open again. I saw feet approach the closet. The shoes looked familiar. The closet went swinging open. Then the footsteps sounded as they were right next to me. I felt hands grasp my ankles and rip me from under my bed. I spun around to see a familiar face grinning down at me. It was Finn. I looked to see my mom's body laying on the ground outside my room. She must have been the one to open the door and slam it shut. I saw Finn pull a knife from his pocket. I looked at his shirt and saw multiple blood smears on it. He put it to my neck. I yelled for Eddie to run. He got up and punched Finn, so we both ran out the front door. I heard the footsteps closely behind us. We started towards the police station. The station wasn't far. A lady saw us running and opened the door for us. A police had his gun drawn and pointed behind me. Eddie ran ahead and got into the doorway. He spun around and watched in horror. I spun to see what was happening, a knife hurling towards me. I kept running. I heard a gunshot. I spun around to see Finn falling, blood squirting out of his head. I felt something slam into my back, and a sudden pain. I felt dizzy as I made it to Eddie. I collapsed to the ground. Eddie fell to his knees by my side. Tears flowed down his face. He heard my last breath as my vision faded. Epilogue by Eddie. I slowly walked home the next morning. I saw that my front door was wide open. I ran to see what was happening. I ran in to see my mom with a knife in her back lying on by the front door. I ran upstairs to see my dad with a knife in his hand lying over the stairs as if he were trying to distract a killer so that my mom could get away. I walked into my sister's room to see her wrist was cut and there was a giant puddle of blood underneath her hand. Above her was a note written in blood. On the wall it said, "The Outsider."